Hi guys. This week we're talking about genetic rules that are not the ones that Mendel discovered. Mendel was that very early researcher who discovered the principle of dominance, but we are going to talk about differences and things that do not follow that rule. Some of the exceptions are that some alleles are neither dominant nor recessive, and many traits are controlled by more than one gene. We call those polygenic traits. Poly meaning many. So Mendel was the researcher we talked about who discovered the early rules of genetics by experimenting with pea plants. But when he discovered that a tall gene in a pea plant is dominant to a short gene in a pea plant, he didn't account for things in other plants and animals. So here are more traits that follow different rules than Mendel discovered. For instance, this snapdragon, if I have a red snapdragon, which is homozygous dominant red, and a white snapdragon, which is homozygous dominant white, they're not complete dominance, incompletely dominant. So the red doesn't cover up the white. They blend and they mix to create a pink snapdragon as their offspring. If I cross two of these pink snapdragons, then I see the dominant trait come up, I see the combined trait come up, and I see the recessive trait come up. But it's not completely dominant, so we get this middle form, okay? With incomplete dominance, we get a middle form. So today we're going to explain the difference between incomplete dominance and codominance. You have this graph on your homework. You can fill this in as you watch the screencastify, or you can look at the notes page that was included with your assignment. All right. Incomplete dominance, like that snapdragon, neither allele is dominant. The red doesn't completely cover up the white doesn't completely cover up the red, so they mix. The two different alleles are present, red and white. You get a new intermediate phenotype. Remember, the phenotype is what you see, which is a blending of the two. Another example is straight hair. A straight-haired parent with a curly-haired parent will produce children that have wavy hair. Wavy hair being in the middle, in between straight and curly. Here's a picture. I have a parent with curly hair and a parent with straight hair. Now, obviously, if we're doing genetic crosses, one of these would be male, but men tend to have short hair, so we'll use the long hair examples. And if I cross these two parents, we will end up with something in the middle, wavy hair. Look at the genotype here. It has a dominant and a recessive, but instead of showing only the dominant trait, like Mendel said, in incomplete dominance, they mix together and create something in between. So neither allele is dominant. When two different alleles are present, they mix to make an intermediate phenotype, a mixture or a blending of the two, and that is incomplete dominance. Incomplete means they mix, and the heterozygous genotype doesn't look like either parent. It's a mixture of the two. Another example is 4 o'clock flowers. They're called that because they bloom in the afternoon. They have incomplete dominance. Neither red or white is completely dominant, and so they create a new middle color, pink. So there's 3 phenotypes, red, white, and pink. Here is the Punnett square for 4 o'clock flowers with incomplete dominance. Red combining with white creates pink in the first generation of offspring. We're going to pause there